So art was everywhere, kind of all the time with him. In speech, so he did this thing where he taught what's called Sprachgestaltung, which is a form of artistic speech. And you do probably a 3 or 4 year study to do that right. And then how about his visible movement and visible speech called Eurythmy? Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, so you might want to look that up. And there's a lot of videos, on YouTube on Eurythmy, Eurythmy, and Steiner there is talking about how a clairvoyant sees the creation of speech and what it looks like to a clairvoyant, and how we can take that picture and bring it into human movement and manifest speech visibly for people to see. It's really, really something to see. And that's a very rigorous 4-year training to become a eurythmist. Very serious thing. But it's also in music too. So our body has fourths and fifths and seconds in the organism, in your hands and in your arms and all this stuff, all this microcosmic manifestation of the music of the spheres, you might say, lives in the human being. And that's also, so there's visible music too. So to see a Beethoven symphony being done with 50 eurythmists on the stage, and they're wearing these different silk flowing things for the majors and the minors and the timbres of the instruments, and they're moving back and forth and through each other and not running into each other, and the whole thing is a visible picture of a Beethoven symphony. Okay, so this is another thing Steiner did, which is a lot of people really find themselves in anthroposophy once they see eurythmists. It's just astonishing, really, to see. And you can, in a Waldorf school, every Waldorf school, if it's a Waldorf school and hasn't become something else over time, which they can do, has a eurythmy teacher, and they have a eurythmy class every day. And they do eurythmy, and it's an incredibly taxing, demanding thing. You wouldn't believe it, okay? But it's also stunning. So when I would go as an adult to eurythmy classes on Saturdays or whatever you could take, I was so tantalized because they would be doing something and saying something, and you're going, yeah, that is what you're saying, the word you're saying or the vowel you're saying or whatever. Yeah, what you just did, yeah, that is that. But I don't have it all in my head. You're just tantalized because you're seeing like half of something, and you know it's right, but you don't see the other half. And it's just absolutely something to see. I mean, there you see kind of a spirituality coming out of Steiner in that art form. That's a staggering. Yeah, it's just staggering to me. Sorry, I'm getting sycophantic here in a little bit. But so here's a fun one. Okay, so Steiner's talking about the arts. Let's see if we've got enough of this. So he says when you look at architecture really comes out of the human being just experiencing the physical forces in their organism. And that experience really brought forth, you might say, the manifestation of architectures and art. If you look at sculpture, in sculpture, you're seeing the etheric body, which is our sculptor of our physical body, right? If a clairvoyant, I'm going to say it kind of this way, though I don't remember exactly if Steiner would say it this way. If you were to see somebody doing sculpture, he says you would see the person, clairvoyantly, you would see their etheric body pressing into their physical body as they're doing sculpture. Okay? Then he says, so now if you see somebody painting, and they're all with color and all this, if you see that, a clairvoyant would see that person's astral body pressing into their etheric body. And now you see somebody making music and doing music and writing music. He said you would see the person's ego being pressing into their astral body. And then if you saw somebody writing poetry, and true poetry, I don't know how much of that is actually around anymore, but okay, but true poetry, you would see their next higher member, which is not quite here yet, called the spirit self, which is this transformed astrality that we're working on right now as human beings. The spirit self, this echo of the spirit self in the human being, pressing into their ego. And we'd have to talk about, maybe give some characterizations of what spirit self means. But and then finally, let's say finally for now, when you see Eurythmy, you would see the higher member of this transformed etheric body called the spirit self. Sorry, the life spirit, pressing into the spirit self. And those are very abstract up there. But so even this art form is kind of something that came from, seeing these things. And then there's a higher one than that. He calls the coming social art, whatever that is. That is the spirit human being pressing into the life spirit. Sorry that I know that might be abstract for people, but if they look Steiner up, it's a very, very cool thing that when you hear those, James, they just make sense. They're just shockingly elegant ways of seeing the human beings, members, and their interaction with each other in the manifestation of all these arts.
So